This is a GK Media podcast.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Wellth Talks with myself, Garry Kelly. We've Pádraic and Máille in the house and Niall Leyden as well for another weekly dose filled with nuggets of wisdom. And today I really want to talk about the importance of slowing down to speed up, looking after your health, but very much your mind, your brain health as such. And for me, this year has been phenomenal. I wouldn't say I got a scare, but I got a nice metaphorical kick up the backside by the GP when I got my bloods done last year. And I could see that I was going on a bit of a downward spiral. I needed to really focus on getting healthy in terms of what I was eating, knock some of the bad habits on the head, start exercising. Shortly afterwards, I met this man, Niall Leyden, in the gym, and we were pretty much starting on the same journey. Little did we know, we knew we needed to start taking care of ourselves. And we had such a phenomenal, busy year, a great year. But it's after you've had that great year where you've sacrificed so much of yourself for your business, you realize, I can't do this long term. I can't keep putting all this in to keep growing and having a successful business because it's going to affect me personally. And I really need to make me a strong person mentally, physically, so then I can give more and have more impact on my business. And that started off with actually doing things like intermittent fasting. I started exercising, small doses of exercising, but consistently. So instead of trying to do one big gym session for 2 hours in a week, which might kind of skip a week. So sometimes there was only one gym session a month. I started saying, okay, let's just do 15 minutes 4 times a week. And then build on that consistency. So it was all those things that really, really started to work for me. Doing the sea swims, whether the water's warm or the weather's cold, you're getting in the sea and you're going to do it 3 evenings in the week. So building on all those things really help the mind clear the head. And we've spoken before, and we all do the sea swims. I often say it doesn't matter what baggage you have on your shoulders. When you get into the sea, when you come out 5, 10, 50 minutes later, that baggage is gone. The head is clear. You feel more connected, more grounded. You're in a better place mentally. And when you're in a better place mentally, you can give so much more to your family, to your friends, to your business, and so on. So we have to look after what's going on up here in the Cian. It's so, so important. So who wants to take the lead on my monologue there that I didn't expect to go on as long as it did?
Well, something you said there, and we have quite a listenership in the Midlands, and I've spoken to a lot of friends and a few clients in the last couple of months. We talk lots about the sea. And for a lot of our listeners, whether it's getting into a lake, and it's really it brought it home to me back a couple of months ago. Somebody says, you're all the time chatting about the sea, and I'd love to get to the sea, and we do, but not often. So, whether it's cold water therapy or whatever it might look like, slowing down to speed up. Back in the day, I'd often still have a conversation at home and they'd be saying, why would you do that? As you say, the badge of honour. Were you not in the office at 8 o'clock? You left before 6 o'clock. And you're thinking of taking a half day on Friday. Shame. Get into the naughty corner. What do you think, Pádraic?
Well, tell us about some of the things you've done, Niall.
Because you kicked me off on this journey.
And I think for anyone that knows me, for the vast majority of my life, I would have procrastinated. I'd have talked a lot about doing things and maybe just not followed through or started them and never finished. Yeah. Particularly with the health piece. There's no doubt. In business and family, that's a different pan of rashers, if you like. But, health is everything. And from that, the better you feel about yourself, the better outcomes for your clients. Because let's call a spade a spade. What is our mission in life outside of, you talk about being a servant, and that's what we are. You're rearing a family, you're minding your parents, your community, your friends, you're giving back. And this is just, I suppose, the 3 of us friends coming together doing something that we enjoy. The health piece for me, I think back to after a summer maybe of excess, having made so much progress on so many different fronts, not just, if you look at the non-weighing scales victories. So I always say no matter what they say.
That's a great line. The non-weighing scale victory.
Because all my life they just laughed at me, and they're still laughing at me. And I laugh when I get home to Sligo. School friends are the best friends, and they bring you back to earth with a bang very quickly.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, all joking aside, when you're out and running your own business, and it is stressful, you know, there's no point in saying we're all the time in good form or not. There's good days and bad, and there's as many bad as good days. But it's how you react and how you respond. But I think the health one for me is, number one, own the morning, own the day. If you can start your morning well, you know, getting up an hour early. I mean, that was my thing last year and is this year. You won't always get to see if you're heading to Dublin or Cork or Donegal or wherever you might be going. So for me, it's an ice bath at the house. 6 o'clock, it's 5 minutes, it's 3, 4, maybe 5 degrees. It's a reset. Cup of coffee in the back garden, bare feet. You talked about grounding.
Yeah.
Never heard of it up till about maybe 12 or 18 months, so I do it every day. So if your morning starts well, more often than not, you're going to have a good day. Your clients are going to have a good day and your family will have a good day. So that's with the health piece. I mean,
and it's so true what you said there. You react differently then to, you know, the tough days, the bad days. Like you were trying to ring me there the last day and I said, look, there's just been a little mini disaster that's happened here. But I was in good form because I had owned my day.
Yeah.
So it's like we got through it. We got the solution. Everything was fine, done and dusted within an hour. But yeah.
But the best conversations I'm having over the last couple of weeks and months are in the morning. So the clients I work best with, I now know that I'll get them sometime maybe between, would you believe, 7:30, 8:45 and 9 o'clock or after 6. And I have their permission and blessing to ring them before or after. They're the best conversation.
Okay.
For me,
not mine.
No,
you're an evening person, Garry.
I am,
yeah. Okay.
But energy is everything. I mean, you know, I think of, there was 2 things I saw, and I'll share, well, you both know, back at the start of September, something I did that I couldn't have dreamed of doing 3 months ago, let alone last year. But there's a program on television called Limitless. Chris Hemingway, the actor, and I mean, he's all into adrenaline, doing extreme sports and different things. But he's brilliant. I mean, so he did this 4-day fast. He does lots of things, but he talks a lot about. He partnered with some guru in terms of, you know, what does good look like from a health perspective, externally and internally. So fasting, and you know, I'd heard bits about intermittent fasting. My wife Brenda does it. Has her breakfast at 11, dinner at 7, and energy seems to improve, and everything is a lot better. And so, there was a friend of mine there back during the summer had been talking for quite some time about a 72-hour fast, which was alien to me. I mean, 3 days. The closest I came to doing that was three lockdowns with my mother up and for Donegal listeners. Has any done Lough lads?
No.
I have, yeah.
Have you?
I've worked there, but go on.
No. So my wife's from Pettigo, and her mum worked on the island, and Brenda spent a period. Now, that's not where we met, the Foreign entrance in Metta Prayer. But getting back to this 3-day, you know, so Lough is a 3-day pilgrimage. You know, you go out in the boat, you spend, you know, you're out there for 2 days, and it's bare feet, and, you know, you're staying awake for a lot of it. But this 72
But
days,
do you eat?
You don't really.
Minimum.
Okay.
You get a dry toast or black coffee or tea.
Okay.
If you're not bringing Mars bars out, but that defeats the purpose.
I like it.
So we kicked off on the 1st of September. It was a Sunday evening, 7 o'clock. That was it. There was 3 of us, friend here in Galway and Cork and myself, and we just embarked on this 72-hour fast. And I didn't overthink it. He texted me. I'd forgotten about it. And he says, you know, are you ready?
You've never done this before?
Never. I wouldn't even. I'd be a skeptic and say, well, why would you do something like that? Not knowing that it's been going on for hundreds and thousands of years and still is, and all of the benefits that go with it. So we rocked into it, and I mean, I cannot begin to explain to you just the benefits and the mental clarity and the energy and the focus and the serenity. And
so I asked you to write down for us the steps, like what you've noticed. So can you kind of talk us through what you notice over those 72 hours? Because I think for anyone who's interested, it's great hearing it from the horse's mouth as such, someone who's actually done it.
Yeah, and I will, because I did write, no, it was a couple of weeks ago, but I can remember it vividly. I really can. I mean, because it was that clear, and probably still is. So Dana White, he's the president of the UFC. You know, the UFC is, Conor McGregor was involved with, but he's a household name in sporting circles. I'm not a big fan of UFC or don't know much about it, but I'd seen the YouTube videos and heard it on Spotify and so forth. So he partnered with a guy called Garry Kelly. So this particular Garry Kelly, he was a human biologist who spent 2 decades in the life insurance industry, and he was able to predict life expectancy nearly to the month. And he basically said to Dana that he was a dead man walking. He'd be dead in a couple of years if he continued on what he was doing. So they embarked on this whole fasting thing, and I mean, it's been transformative.
Because on the outset, Dana looks relatively fit, to be honest.
Oh, he does, yeah. Well, he boiled it down to two things: fasting, so that our bodies aren't made for all. And here's from somebody that has been always wintering well, but I mean, so we're not built for all the time consuming and digesting and on the hoof, and this cortisol and fight or flight and insulin resistance. And so Brecka says most of the disease in the world is caused by lack of oxygen, and ultimately our last breath is lack of oxygen. And if with medication, it's all medication and it's all reactive. So for 10 weeks, this guy Dana went on this kind of fasting. No, it wasn't always 72-hour fast where you go into a ketogenic state. And certainly, I'm not a scientist or anything like it, but I noticed. So the first 24 hours for me were definitely the most difficult. You get the pangs. And
so you were just water and electrolytes, is it?
Yeah, 72 hours, a lot of sparkling water, still water, electrolytes, and maybe 2 Americanos. And, that was...
So doctors would say just water and black tea.
I more than made up for it since, though, in other regards. But so that was the first 24 hours. And after that, I mean, there's a switch into a ketogenic state where, the body, I don't fully understand it, but it goes from burning as glycogen or glucose to burning fat, and just
and starts eating up the dead cells and all that. It's very much a cleansing of the body.
But and in terms of longevity, a couple of weeks ago, you heard Putin talking to the president of China, and all they were chatting about was longevity. So everyone wants to now live longer, and everyone's looking for a shortcut on the path to least resistance. But for me, the 72-hour fast, it was transformative. Energy was better, mood was better, focus was better. You were just very calm and cool and collected, and there wasn't any mad hunger. People think, and you can do 4, 5, 6 days, but that 72-hour fast was certainly a bit of a, but it was a reboot and a reset. It was after the summer. It was ideal timing. It was the start of September. It's nearly time to do another one now.
Yeah.
So Halloween now will be the next thing now in a month's time.
But you were saying you got, it's interesting to hear that you felt you had loads of energy, because you would think if you haven't eaten, you miss breakfast. It's like, I won't survive the day.
Massive energy.
But it's the clarity as well. Everything opened up or something.
Yeah, but it was after maybe 24, 36 hours. There's no point. You need to be busy. And I was very, them 3 particular days.
Okay, so get yourself busy.
Stay out of the house, stay out of the kitchen, be on the move. Still do your ice baths if you can get into whether there's a lake or the sea, but staying busy. But back to mindset. If you think you can, you will. And if you think you can't, you're right. I think for me, it's all about getting it in your mind, isn't it?
Yeah. So, funny for youngst, I had a program I used called it Fully Charged, and it was it was based on a mobile phone, and I would ask people, tell me what charge you have in your phone. And it's a group of 40 people. Some would say, well, I'm fully charged. Others say, it's gone dead. Yeah. And I think that really interesting thing about us as humans, we also need to recharge. Unlike the mobile phone that will go dead if you don't plug it in, we go down to a very low level. And unfortunately, that's not good. So I think it's really important to continue to recharge. And I used to always talk about 3 of them. And Niall and Garry, you've both talked about one. The first one is physical fitness, And there's no doubt about that. Andy Morden's gym in Mayo, do you know what I mean? He said movement changes everything. And there's no doubt about it, it does. Movement changes everything. You guys have talked about diet. Really, really important. And the one you're talking about, Niall, is as old as the hills. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the hunter scenario that went out. Really, really important in that. I used to argue when I was talking about fully charged, and that's what I hope our podcast does. It's really important to get around high energy people, whether that's reading about them, whether that's listening to them, or whether that's in their company, because there's a lot of negativity out there. I do not know what's happening on the news because I've stopped listening to the news and the radio. I really, really have. So I think that's the second one. The third one is psychologically. It's the thoughts we have in our mind. And on one of those, I think it's really important. And Niall, I can remember you talking to me midway through your 72 hours, how calm and clear and focused your mind was. Like it was in a different dimension. It really, really, really was. What can our listeners do? I go back to Smácht more again on the 28th of August, and a lot of business people talked about being very stressed. You know, the like it or like it not, and this podcast is very positive. Things aren't brilliant out there. The economy is suffering a little bit, and a lot of our clients are. And, you know, let's call a spade a spade. But so many of the ones who had gone through a rougher time said, well, thank God I was either meditating, what they call it meditation or mindfulness or whatever. It's really important we begin to use our mind to calm down and to be aware of that. And people say, yeah, well, how do we do that, Pádraic? And I'm going to share with you a very simple, and my mother would have called it a prayer. It actually derives from Buddha. It's called a Metta Prayer, Metta. And it's a prayer of loving kindness. Now, prayers, the minute I start talking about prayers, so many of my Smácht audience turn off. But call it meditation, call it mindfulness. And it's a very simple thing. So the way you do this is you think of three people. One, somebody or something that you really love. And in my case, the one I tend to do an awful lot is a dog, would you believe? I know Niall uses this, and he's got his own dog. My dog passed on, so I now use my son's dog, Max, yeah? Are dependent on where I'm with. I got 3 grandchildren. So instantly I can think of either a dog or my grandchildren that I love. And you send out a very simple prayer. Now, the one we're using in Smácht at the moment is an acronym called SAFER, SAFER. So I would say literally to the dog or to the grandkids, may you be safe. And I love that. So if the dog is safe, there's nobody around, the kids are safe. May you be abundant. And abundant means the dog has got water, the dog has got nuts, the dog has got what he needs, yeah? The F is may you be fulfilled. I've been around Smácht long enough to know that when we're fulfilled, we're happy. I don't care. Yeah. The E is for excited. May you be excited. We want to be more than just getting through the days. We want to be excited. And the final R I use is may you be radiant. May you be radiant. And for all of you who know, when you come into a house to a dog, they just radiate unconditional love. So the first bit of that is you do it for the one you love, very easy. The second one is, having done that, you've put your mind in a much better state to say it for yourself. May I be safe. May I be abundant. May I be fulfilled. May I be excited. May I be radiant. And that is brilliant. The third one is the loving kindness component. You say, may all beings be safe. That's all around the world, places of war, bad areas. May all beings be abundant. May all beings be fulfilled. May all beings be excited. May all beings be radiant. And I've dragged this out because we always try to give you the process. You can do that in seconds. You really can do it in seconds. Now, we are largely a business community. So I don't know, Don Collins said to me recently, come on, Pádraic, you're all spiritual. Give us business. I said, Don, how many people are you seeing next Saturday? And Don is extremely busy, shooting the lights out. He said, you won't believe it. It's the busiest Saturday of the year. I'm seeing 27 people. That's 27 different viewings. I said, Don, before every one of them, you do metta, right? First of all, you think about your own dog, yeah? Then you think about you yourself, and then you extend it to all beings. And I guarantee you'll be a lot more focused. You'll be a lot more empathetic, and the people will know it of you. Yeah, this is prior to any business meeting. You can apply this. This is, in my opinion, focused meditation, or whatever you want to call it, prayers or whatever. You're taking something that the Buddha came up with 2,500 years ago, yeah, and you're applying it in life. So that's my gift today.
Brilliant. I love it. That's the Metta Prayer. Excellent. Garry Kelly. That's it for this week's episode of Wellth Talks. If you are enjoying the show, please do share the news. Let your friends, colleagues, family members, anyone who you think would benefit from listening or watching these episodes, please do share it with them. And leave us a review as well online. We'd very much appreciate it. And thank you to everyone. We are getting loads of DMs from people on LinkedIn and Instagram telling us how much they're enjoying the show, how much it's helping them. If one of us gets it, we share it with the other two. So we're all getting to read and share the messages with each other. So thank you so much. Please do keep them coming in, because it's great fuel for us to know that it's helping. What we're doing each and every Friday here is helping you. So please do share that message with us and share the podcast with your friends.
Gary, I'm coming in and you're there. I'm ruining the agenda again. Right at the end, I'm getting the last word.
Where's the trapdoor?
But listeners, it is a build on what Gary said. Mark Twain famously said, he said, I can live for 3 whole months on one good compliment. I love that. Think about that. I can live for 3 whole months on one good compliment. Gary, Niall and myself, we're yellow people, as in our personality. We do thrive on feedback, and we do thrive on positive feedback. And at least 25% of the world's population thrive on positive feedback. So think, Twain, I can live for 3 months on a good compliment. And for our listeners, you in turn give that out to the people you're with. It's a brilliant way of uplifting their energy. Sorry about that, Gary.
Fabulous, lads. Well done.
Cheers. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.